Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in today. I'm here with the Honorable Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. We're doing this clip in Ireland, in the EES center of a very good friend of ours, Monash. And today Dr. Sandra is here with me to answer a couple of questions and to give feedback on this amazing technology that she developed over many years. And let me dive straight into it. Dr. Sandra, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so maybe as a first question, could you explain to our audience how you came about to developing this technology?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It all comes from asking God really good questions, really. But no, my whole life has been absolutely, completely dedicated to the healing of humanity. My whole question is always, okay, God, how do we heal the world? How do we bring healing to the world? And so I've been teaching holistic health more than 45 years. I built my first scalar healing light chamber at Tesla. You know, I did all of Tesla's experiments and all his work as a child, and literally. And then, you know, just all kinds of research in health and healing, and built my first scalar healing light chamber, 1978. So it's a long history. And then also just working as a hands-on healer and with teaching all over. It was about finding what really works for healing. So very, you know, effective techniques. And so we would see anything and everything heal. I expect and know and love miracles, but recognized as a kahuna, that means a keeper of secrets of the mysteries and of life and of healing. And so we put into this the codes for the secrets of instant healing, or HUNA, the secret science of miracles.
Mm-hmm. And how would you describe your mission to the audience? What is your mission in life, Dr. Sandra?
That's it. How do we heal the world?
That's the question.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the greatest power, the only power, is the power of love, which overrides all detrimental and destructive fields. You override it with a higher power, the power of love. And so this technology, you know, came out of, was developed in the 90s now, and we've got decades of research, that, you know, and a continual evolvement to be more and more effective for people. And we're sharing miracles all over the world. That's what I was promised when I asked about, okay, God, what do I do next? And I was asked to create this, to interface with the DNA, to bring everybody's DNA, because that's our God code, to bring everybody's DNA back to its highest expression, the divine matrix, the divine design of our DNA itself, to create regeneration and the Great Awakening.
Yeah. Now, I've spent a lot of time in the technology. As you know, we have our own center in Belgium,
Yeah.
Beam Health Center. And the more time I spend in the center, the more I feel that there is something to this technology that you can't really explain. I've studied your work. I've studied work of people that are authorities on scalar technology. But even so, when I'm explaining to my clients, sometimes I'm feeling there's definitely an element here in the room that I can't really touch. Could you elaborate a little bit on that, on how you've been able to put in these codes of light into that system for it to work the way it does?
Yeah, it looks like 12 strands of DNA, very intentionally, to activate all the latent DNA and deliver the light codes. But they are generating fields of consciousness. You know, when I got this whole message, okay, God, what next? How do we bring healing to the whole world? How do we create that quantum leap of consciousness? I was given a whole long list of instruction, and we have fulfilled all of it, thanks to God. But somehow or other, I finally said, okay, God, you want me to do it? I will do it. And it's, you know, by the fruit you know. Or in Hawaiian, maybe some people have heard of Ho'oponopono. Pono.
Yes.
Means balance, that point of balance, 0 point, but also means effectiveness is the measure of truth. And making what's right more right that effectiveness is the measure of truth, but by the fruit you know.
Yeah. A lot of people that are coming to our center, they are asking whether the technology is only for physical healing, or is it also for emotional, maybe spiritual, energetic healing. So can you elaborate a little bit on, because healing is just more than the physical body, of course.
Yeah, it's all of it. Healing means wholeness and means holiness. So it's about remembrance of the sacredness of our bodies and who we are and all that we are. Total remembrance of who we are, all that we are, all that we have access to, and how highly we're connected. And the activation, literally, the way we're colliding the photons and creating a photonic fusion event, it literally activates the light at the core of our DNA. So that in your conference, Be Your Light, is very appropriate for this technology, because as we activate the light within us, and as we radiate light, nothing that is not of the light can affect us.
Yeah. And you mentioned our conference to the audience. We are going to organize a conference in Belgium on the 6th and the 7th of September. It's the Be Your Light conference, and it is exactly what the work of Dr. Sandra entails. And we're inviting you to be present there. It's a journey into healing, remembrance, and resonance, which you talk about, remembering really who we are, and that's what this technology is all about.
And resonance is a very important piece, because how this technology, part of how it really works, is the cells vibrate and resonate with the power of truth. And it's the truth that sets us free. And the truth of our being is our light and is our love.
It's beautiful you say that, because I remember when I watched the Revolution of Healing podcast, there were two quotes that stuck with me. One was the power of the body, the power that creates the body heals the body, and then the other one was your cells vibrate with the power of truth. And that's been a quote that I'll never forget. It's probably one of my favorite ones. And you can really feel it when you're inside the technology. I mean, we've also seen plenty of people, spectacular stories, miracles, as you say, and
Yes.
it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Isn't that the best, being able to just witness the transformations, witness the miracles?
That's why we do it. Yeah, that's why we do it.
It's what keeps me doing what I do. In spite of everything, we keep doing it, because I'll watch a child that's now speaking that couldn't speak, or is no longer having grand mal seizures, or there's so many things, or the blind seeing. So many miracles, and I go, oh, it's all worth it.
It's all worth it, yeah. Now, can you talk a little bit about the importance of detox? And you talk a lot about toxicity in the body and how to get rid of that, and how, for example, the salt baths and your protocol play into that. Can you elaborate a little bit on this, because people are asking a lot of questions about that?
Oh, I know. I had an admiral. He's going into the 24 unit, and he asked the gentleman that has it, "Do I have to do the bath?"
But it's all science, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very pure science. It's applied integrated biophysics, really.
Yeah.
Because the salt is a negative charge and the toxins are a positive charge. When you apply the heat, when you raise hot water, hot bath,
yes.
When you apply the heat, as you increase the body temperature, the core temperature, that kicks your immune system into high gear. But it's also open up the capillaries, open up the pores. The salt's the negative charge, the toxin's the positive charge. You open up the pores, and it'll pull the toxins like a magnet. And the skin is our largest organ of elimination. It's the third kidneys. So it's the world's easiest detox that nothing does what a bath does. When the body's got the charge, then it's trying to discharge and try to push things out of every nook and cranny of the body, get to all those places where it didn't have enough energy to clear whatever it wanted to clear. It's now giving the body the energy to heal itself, because the power that made the body heals the body. Now the body has the energy. First thing it wants to do is clean house.
Exactly. Yeah. So everybody who's listening, you've heard Dr. Sandra. It's very important to take your salt bath after an EESystem session. But continuing on this point, a lot of people, we have a certain way of doing things as humans. We search for the path of least resistance. We're looking for quick fixes. I mean, the energy enhancement system is a technology, but healing, of course, is a matter of consciousness. You know, being conscious about what you take and bring into your body. So can you elaborate a little bit on this as well? Because some people think I'm going to do 5 hours or 10 hours or 20 hours in the system and then continue with their lifestyle the way they are. And that's probably not the best thing to do either.
No, it's about having the energy to change your mind, to change your diet. You can't expect to be super healthy if you're still poisoning yourself. I mean, this should be common sense, critical thinking. And if you love yourself, you're not going to do anything that doesn't support you having your body be healthy, because that body is the temple of your soul, and sacredness, that honoring the sacredness of the body means letting go of all violation or desecration, whether it's emotionally, physically. But most people have gotten addicted to poisoning themselves, and that's how they develop the diseases, because God's laws are nature's laws. And life comes from life. You don't get more aliveness by putting in more dead stuff
into your body. Yeah. And so, talking about nutrition, is there anything specific that you could recommend to our audience about, what is healthy food according to you?
How God made it. The closest to how God made it is what's best. So fresh, live, raw, the greens, the herb of green shall be as meat, is what it says in the Bible. But one of the most important principles with the technology is to have good minerals, trace minerals, the minerals, but also salt. The salt of the earth, but the salt with the minerals. And you can even just put a small pinch of that in water will really, really help the hydration. But it's like a battery in the body. All life is energy, and it's like electrical. So you need the good salt for the charge to work with the body, but also the trace minerals. So I do recommend that people, because they're not in our food supply anymore. Yeah. So you have to find a good source of minerals.
Yeah. Another point that I'd like to touch upon is intention and the system. I remember we were speaking a couple of days ago, and you mentioned your great friend Wayne Dyer, the late Wayne Dyer, who's written an incredible book, The Power of Intention, and it came about in your system. That's what you said.
That's right.
But I tell the people that come to Beam Health Center that when they set intentions in our space, it's important to really focus on what they want to manifest, because there is cellular communication going on in the room. And so, can you elaborate a little bit on what the power intention can do in the EESystem?
Yeah, Wayne Dyer was having a session with me in the technology, and the whole time it was like, Wayne, it's all about the power of intention. And these are dense, intentional, informational fields that create coherence and cellular communication. And everything's in the cell memory. So you kind of want to re-intention, reimagine. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. So that's what healing, trying was very trying in the first place. I don't recommend that.
No, not trying, only doing.
He who is grateful in all things shall be made glorious. There's a spiritual principle to that. So you want to thank your body for doing everything it's done, and thank your body for functioning more and more perfectly, more and more optimally all the time, because it's been trying to function perfectly all along. So the more you focus on the perfection, the more the perfection can manifest more perfectly. And that's Pono.
That's true, yeah. And just one more thing about the technology itself. So you have the whole biophotonic collision that is creating the electrical charge. There's a polychromatic therapy that's inside the screens as well, and you put the Fibonacci sequence in there. Right. But when you talk about the scalar field and the generation of, what's that field where there's so much discussion about, a lot of people say, look, this is going faster than light, it's going through matter. What is scalar energy to you? How would you explain in your own words to the audience what scalar energy is?
And of course, I deal with so many physicists, including the professor of nuclear and quantum physics, who's just, so many geniuses. I've been so blessed to work with so many hyper geniuses that, So it's always very interesting discussions. The technical definition is non-linear, non-Hertzian, fifth dimensional. So we'll start with 5D. It goes from there.
Yeah.
Standing columnar waves beyond relative time and space. But the easiest way to understand it is an infinity wave and an infinitely projected Mobius, which is your tube torus or torsion field, which is why we embed the technology into the medallions.
Yes.
And this communicates that ideal field so effectively then through the body to maintain the integrity of the DNA, to maintain the integrity of the red blood cells, which are also
and also the bracelets, I think.
And the bracelets, the blood runs through them, and it's for everybody to stay strong no matter what you're exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Glenn Ryan, now he's another authority on scalar. You can read some of his research with our medallions and bracelets and water on our website, but he was a professor. He's a Stanford and Harvard biophysicist, and he's done the research on, everybody knows crystals are beneficial. Well, that was like a 2% improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And he tested the crystals, he tested them just crystals being placed in a system, and phenomenal improvement. So you've got a scalar enhancement that maintains a charge. These are self-healing.
It's hypercharged.
Self-healing, no, not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Self-healing, self-repairing, self-regenerating field. So bring your crystals, bring your supplements, bring your medications, because it'll make them more biocompatible, into the system when you visit. Bring your jewelry, because there will be a scalar enhancement that is extraordinarily profound. So he studied that effect, which was amazing, and then also from our old hypercharger up to the new hypercharger, which was 51%.
Wow.
Increase in benefit.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Also just with the medallions, with the original hypercharger, it was 28% increase in the electrical conductivity of the DNA itself, which is extraordinarily profound because that's our cellular communication. It's our cell signaling, but it's all your reaction times and how everything flows through the body as current. So extraordinarily profound, and it's an aspect of scalar because scalar, one aspect of it is superconductivity.
Mm-hmm.
So you also find that superconductivity or that enhanced conductivity, electrical conductivity, which is measurable. Scalar can't be measured by definition, it's nonlinear, but observable by effects. So you can measure the electrical conductivity or the charge in water. We've measured also the surface tension being reduced, so that reduction of surface tension, and that's the way to get your cellular hydration because the body is mostly water.
Mm-hmm.
So there's many cellular mechanisms of action that we can actually talk about, but the results are profound. Also, certified lab tests, we had water tested for 10 years and it maintained the same in the lab. So people want to know, how long does it last? Well, infinity lasts a long time.
But you do have a hypercharger as well for the bracelets and the medallions, right? Yeah. So we also have them available, of course, at our center for anybody who's interested in the bracelets and the medallions. Dr. Sandra, one important thing in our center is we focus on children. Right, children in Beam until 12 years old are free. They can come free with their parents, of course.
That's something I would highly recommend.
Yeah, and so
children in my centers, or when were always free because they're the future of humanity.
Exactly. So
and
what's
they
the
need
effect?
It more than anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I
they
wanted
need
to know.
all the help they can get because we're living in such a toxic soup. And they came out of even the toxicity that they found to be in the amniotic fluid. 300 and some carcinogens and stuff is tested. So I really, really want to have birthing centers. This technology is phenomenal for fertility, but you want to work with the consciousness of the mother and father and breath work and things like that. Preconception, because the health of the father is so important to the health of the child and the consciousness at the time of conception and things like this. And then nothing is healthier for the baby or the mother during pregnancy. And then
to spend time in the EESystem.
And then you also want birth to be like butter. I was an ecstatic birth coach as well. I have 4 kids, but I was also a birth coach. And you want that to be, it should be, hopefully my language is okay here.
Yes.
It should be the biggest orgasmic experience of a woman's life. It's to be a true womb. And it's that, I'm a woman, I'm strong, but it's like to be able to allow yourself to have that experience of that infinite, innate intelligence and power flowing so freely through you. Get out of the way. That's the trick. If a mother holds her breath during pregnancy, during birth, if the mother holds her breath, it'll hurt like hell. Like there's nothing to resist in that flow. You want to get out of the way and allow that life force energy to flow through freely.
Yeah. Well, so for pregnant women, I mean, as Dr. Sandra just mentioned, it is very good to bring yourself and your little babies into the EESystem.
Yeah, and then for the children themselves, I mean, they're the superstars.
Yes, they're the future.
But we have our God babies that have been brought into the technology, and they literally become superstars, athletically, intellectually, consciously.
Wow, fantastic. Is there anything, Dr. Sandra, that you live by, like some rules that you'd like to communicate to our audience? The things that they can apply from such an eminence as yourself?
Breathing light, be your light. Breathing light, more love with every breath. The deeper you breathe, the more you can let go. Expand. Opening up the heart more with every breath to expand all capacities for love. Because if God is all there is, what is there not to love? And the trick is unconditional love. Unconditional love means letting go of every freaking excuse you've ever had for not being in love and staying in love no matter what. And you will be tested. Can you love this? And how about that? And what about this?
The universe testing us all. Exactly. Yeah.
And the test is unconditional love. Stay in love. Be your light. No excuses.
Yeah. And as a last question, is there any type of condition that you would recommend not to go into the EESystem? For example, my dad has a pacemaker, but he spent time in the system. He's very good. Right, but some people are asking, maybe, but this condition is not good, or that condition is not good. What do you say to that?
Everybody has to get off their buts. If you have DNA, this is just an ideal, optimal, energetic environment, just a hyper healthy energy that we would have if we had heaven on earth right now.
Yeah.
Ideal, optimal energy where the body's perfectly supported. One of my doctors has a saying, if you have DNA, get in it. Because they found that this was repairing the breaks and damage in the DNA and lengthening telomeres. We actually have research to that. Mm-hmm. So it's healthy for plants, it's healthy for babies, it's healthy for anyone and everyone. Pacemakers, the inventor of the pacemaker actually used our technology in Hawaii. It's been at University of Hawaii, medical school for almost 20 years. Peer-reviewed, published studies. There's a long history. People ask, well, what are the long-term effects? You've met my kids.
Yeah. I have.
What are the long-term effects? You can't ever be too healthy. You can't be too good in spite of everything and anything. Let's be your light. Yeah.
Dr. Sandra, thank you very much for being so clear with the information, and I really look forward to welcoming you in September at our conference, the Be Your Light conference.
It'll be a great light party, right?
Exactly, that's what we're going to do. And
it's what I call cellular enlightenment. So aloha.
Aloha. Thank you very much. All right, that was very good.